Okay, so Be'ezras Hashem, we are continuing with our series of shirim on Adir BaMarom, the Hilig Ramchal's biur on the Ijer Rabba of the Zohar HaKadosh, the unity between Moshe Rabbeinu, Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, and all of the future generations that come until the coming of Mashiach Tzidkenu. So we're still in the place where we're talking about the miracle of the Zohar HaKadosh, the miracle of Tevas Noach, the miracle of that in case of emergency break glass type of situation, where HaKadosh Baruch Hu allows the light of Bina to be mashpia, a particular light down to Malchus, so that Malchus becomes like an Ir Miklat that protects the individual in spite of the fact that we are undeserving of the spiritual protection taking place. And that undeserved form of spiritual protection, we said, is the brecha, is the running away, is when the system is out of order and the lights can't be drawn down through the concealment of Zer Anpin and through the natural process of the processing of the Seder Hashtalshlus and all of the Partsufim as a result of whatever form of exile is present in reality in a person's life. And therefore, there comes a time, Eis Lasos Lashem, Hisur Saraseches, we're going to see, which is really the introduction to the Ijer Rabba. So there's a secret of Ima Noisenes Levush Labrasa, that the mother gives over a garment that is necessary for protection to the daughter, and Binas must be Adan to Malchus, and there's a safety that opens up, and your miklat that opens up, a safe place in the mind that opens up, a Tevas Noach that opens up, that doesn't get rid of the chaos on the outside, but rather what it does is it creates a semblance of calmness within the chaos itself, and the influence of that calmness is not necessarily being revealed externally, although it will be in the future. Now, as long as the unity of above and below is not taking place in the way that we need it to be taking place, so there's a need for this type of emergency revelation, which is the light of the Zohar HaKadosh. And obviously, all degradation is for the sake of eventual ascension. So all of these accidental, seemingly symptomatic elements of history and the history of exile, etc., are by definition fundamental to the process seen through the Hanagas HaYichud of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, because obviously all of the galus needed to happen so that we have the Heilig Zohar Kadosh. And the Zohar Kadosh is an emergency relief in a situation that we need emergency relief. Nevertheless, the tachlis is to reach that emergency relief and realize that the emergency relief was part and parcel of the original plan, which is drawing all of the lights of now, which appears to be devoid of the light of the unity of the beginning and the end, into the beginning and the end as well, which is the yichud of the Rosh, the Toich, and the Seif, which is the secret of revealing the inherent connection of HaKadosh Baruch Hu's fundamental indivisible unity, which is Yachid b'Metzias, the fact that HaKadosh Baruch Hu exists as the only existent, as the only necessary existent, and everything by definition is accidental and contingent in relationship to the Mechuyev Metzias. That's the secret of the Yachid b'Metzias, the Yichud Ilah, Shema Yisrael Hashem Elokeinu Hashem Echad, what we know so fundamentally true from the perspective of the beginning and the end, where there's the Yichud of the Rosh and the Toch, where we know that HaKadosh Baruch Hu was, is, and will be the only thing that exists. But then in the excluded middle, we descend down into that place of the Yachid B'Shlita, where we find ourselves caught up in that mixed up space of the Bechira and Hashgacha Pratis and Hanhagas HaMishpat, where it seems as if there are moments that are fundamentally concealed, and it seems that that's the place where the Sitra Achra, Kavyachol, is unfolding in more and more powerful ways that seemingly take on a frightening shape. Nevertheless, it's specifically down there in that hidden place of the middle, in the Emsa, that we're coming to be Megalazain on the Iker Nekuda of Samchenu Ki Mois Anisanu, that HaKadosh Baruch Hu, you will gladden us like the days of our affliction, in the sense that we come to recognize that the moments of affliction are in and of themselves the hidden light of the days to be revealed in the future. That, like Rabbi Akiva laughing at the Galus itself, at the end of the Ramchal's life, after all of the exiles, when he was able to give us Mesilas B'Levavim, he was able to give us a clear path back to Ruach HaKodesh, back to Binyan Beis HaMikdash, back to opening up that hidden pocket of air within the mind of the individual, that secret Ir Miklat. The Ramchal began to identify more and more with the neshama of Rabbi Akiva, the recognition that all of the Gullus itself is only there to reveal in the present moment that this is also the processing of Geula, in spite of the fact that I don't know how, I don't know where, I don't know what, I don't know in what sense it's meant to feel that way, why it has to be this way. Nevertheless, the deep awareness and the undying, unquestionable faith of Tikkun that ascends above any Teku and Kinos of Teku affirms for me the goodness inherent in all things in spite of not knowing. Everything is rechaika mimeni, but still I affirm the secret of chachma, the koyachma, and that's the drawing down of above to below. That's the ability to draw down the lights of above, the yud down to the shade, to be miyached above and below. As long as above and below are not miyuchad, on a revealed way. So there's a need for these in case of emergency break glass situations, which, like we just said, are fundamental to the secret of HaKadosh Baruch Hu's unfolding unity. But the tachlis is obviously not to live in this space of bina being mashpia down to malchus, where we need this in case of emergency type of situation where we have to pretend as if we're okay in spite of the fact that we're not okay, and that we have to learn to cultivate the inner tools of resiliency and spiritual productivity in spite of the fact that nothing is revealed externally. And why is it truly that the tefillin don't grow naturally from the body? Why does a person have to function in a place of concealment? Obviously, the tachlis is to come to a place of revelation. And as long as that revelation is not there, we said it's lo yodenu adma, osisenu lo re'inu velo yodenu adma. Our signs were not seen. Now we know that the fact that the signs are not seen doesn't dictate that the signs are not there. They're there, but in a concealed way. Ever since Tevas Noach, we've known that. That after Noach, HaKadosh Baruch Hu said, okay, now I'm only going to pretend to destroy things and erase them down to their roots. But in truth, we all know that the irreducible roots of the original plant of Kedusha is always already there, and therefore nothing can fundamentally be destroyed. That's the secret of the Keshet Ba'anan. That's the secret of the weapons and the rainbows that are going to reveal the Vias of Mashiach. But once we understand that we never lose the baseline foundation and connectivity between above and below, between the Yud and the Shade, which composes Shaddai, which is the revelation of measurement in this world, so we know we will go through processes of concealment and revelation, concealment and revelation. So in times of concealment, the pasuk says, adma. We don't see our signs. They're our signs. They belong to us. We just don't see them. They're not absent from us, but we don't know how long it's going to last. And we said that that ma was understood according to the Ramchal in 4 different ways, which corresponded to the Shem Havaya. One of the ways, the Iker way, was that the Ma was shaykh to the chut of Or Ein Sof Kavyachol, that was coming down from Shemayim, the Kav Or Ein Sof, being Mislabesh, and the Neshama of Moshe Rabbeinu, who's going to be the Neshama of Mashiach Tzidkenu. And we also saw that the Shem Ma represents the Iker Shem through which HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants to run reality. Yud Vav Dalid, Hey Aleph, Vav Aleph Vav, and Hey Aleph, the Shem of Ma. That is the Iker Shem that finds expression in Zer Ampin, that finds expression in the world of Atzilus. That is the name that we have most access to. It's the same gematria as Adam. So we saw that the Lo Yodea Adma can mean the chut of Or Ein Sof, the expression of HaKadosh Baruch Hu's infinite light, or it can mean the Shem Havaya Dema, which is the secret of the Tzimtzum and the Torah, which, in spite of the fact that it's diminished in its quality and diminished in its quantity, and it finds itself stuck within the framework and the practicalities and the details of the Torah itself, nevertheless, the secret of the Torah is that the Zahu Atika V'Atika Huza, and that the Torah itself is Megalazine, and that Iker Or Ein Sof just as much as the Chut is Megal on it. That the Torah has the ability to be the vessel that can contain that which is indivisible and that which is infinite. So either Ma means the infinite light of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, or it means the Shem Havaya de Ma, which corresponds to a much more regulated and stabilized form of divine kind of experience and processing, which is the Hanhaga of Zer Anpin. Okay, so there is a little bit of the introduction as to what we're doing when we're talking about the Zohar Kadosh, and the Ramchal continued to show how Moshe Rabbeinu had to go up to retrieve the light of Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, which was the light of the ability to cultivate a light within a cave in a place of concealment prior to the expression of revelation. But the Chiddush of the Zohar Kadosh, and the Chiddush of our moment, and the Chiddush of our generation, which is the generation of the Chavraya Kadisha of Rabbi Shimon, and the wanderings and the Sipurim of the Halicha of those Talmidim and that Chavraya, because every step implies that there's going to be a severance between the unity of the two legs which were occupying a singular place. So when the left leg gets up, it now separates itself from the right leg, and in the space, in the empty space between the left and the right leg, with part of the body moving forward and part of the body still being behind, and that empty space of walking and that empty space between the stages of the ladder, that is where so much of the narrative structure and the air of the Zohar comes up from. And it's our generation that finds itself so deeply caught up in that empty air, in that space between the movement of the Zohar Kadosh, where it feels that the walking nature of being human is so difficult, and it's so much harder than being a malach who gets to stand all the time, because we're caught within the act of moving itself, which is the secret of the emergence of the legless beggar and secret of learning how to walk and dance with HaKadosh Baruch Hu in this world. So when we're in the Zohar Kadosh, when we're in the walking empty space of the Zohar Kadosh, in that cave, Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai is cultivating the light where each and every one of us will now have access directly to this in case of emergency break glass scenario of opening up Bina and allowing it to be mashpia down into Malchus, in spite of the fact that it's not operating in accordance with the strict judgment of what the process down through Zer Anpin would be. Avada, there's a Ma'avar. We said that Ma'avar is the Aleph of the Vav of the Shem Shem Havaya de Ma. The Aleph is the Amma Tachlena that you place on top of the Tzohar Ta'asel Teva. The Tzohar Ta'asel Teva is the opening of the mind to create a safe space in your miklat, the Tevas Noach, wherever I find myself. But never to think that that's the Iker, never to think that finding that in case of emergency break glass system of the Zohar Kadosh to illuminate my mind in places of concealment, in spite of the concealment, I can have illumination. The Tachlis is to look back up to the Aleph, the Alufa Shel Olam, the secret of Zer Anpin, the secret of Yegia, the secret of Torah Lishma, the secret of Maisa Mitzvos, the secret of Yegia Sabasar and Yegia Salev, so that we can come through it in the proper way, which is the secret of the Aleph, and that secret of the Zohar HaKadosh. And so he said Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai is cultivating the light of the Zohar, and it's symbolized by the cultivation of that light in the cave, which represents a time of concealment when the unity of Ma is not revealed, and there still seems to be a distinction between above and below. And we said that that was the Kav Charuvin, that was the cherub tree that Rashbi had to eat from in order to draw down from this place of Charuv, of the fact that there is seemingly destruction in the world. So now the Ramchal is going to go deeper in revealing the secrets of this cave, this place that Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, like Moshe Rabbeinu, had to run away, like the accidental murderer, which is all of us who has to run away to the Ir Miklat, like Noah HaTzadik who had to run away into the Teva. So too Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai had to run away into the cave, and that's why it's Alisa Lamarim Shavisa Shevi, the Neshama of Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, the Neshama of the Arizal, and the Neshama of the Baal Shem Tov. Ba'al Kain, says the Ramchal on Daf Chav Tes. Ba'al Kain, Hutzruchu la'amoid betchila yud beis shanim va'achar kach yud beis chadashim. So we know that Rashbi was in the cave with his son Rav Elazar, which was the secret of Elazar and Gershom and Moshe Rabbeinu, which we said last week, and that staying in that cave was 12 years, and then after the 12 years were done, it was an additional 12 months to fill out the 13-year principle. And so when the Ramchal is explaining the need to run into this cave in our minds, in reality, in experience, so he's giving us details and the yichudim of what it means to actually process this. The fact that Rashbi and Rabbi Elazar had to be in the cave for 12 years and 12 months, which was 13 years, but with the separation in between, is the secret of the Kav Charuvin. We said the Kav Charuvin, Kav 102, is Gematria, the Miloi of Absag and Ma, when you take away the name of Havaya itself. So you take away the Shem Havaya of each and every one of those Shemos, and then you find yourself just left with the Miloi, and the Miloi of those three add up into 102, which represents the remnant of the awareness that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is present, the expression of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, but to a certain degree, the loss of the essential connection to the root itself. We have the Osios HaMilui, we have the spelling out of the name of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, like a star that remains even after its own destruction, Kav Yachol, but the original name of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, the essence of that Giloi seems to have dissipated from the hands, and we're left with a Kav Charuvin, we're left with the Miloi without any of the Pashut of the Shem Havaya itself. And so this 12 years and 12 months is going to correspond to this Kav Charuvin, to this Charuv tree that gave sustenance to Rabbi Shimon and Rabbi Elazar. So what is it? V'hu ki gimel shemosein. There are three names through which HaKadosh Baruch Hu reveals himself. HaKadosh Baruch Hu reveals himself through the name Havaya. The name Havaya, Yud Ke Vav Ke, is the Iker name of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. It's the Shem Ha'etzem. It's the middle name at every point. And then you have something that precedes that Giloi and something that follows that Giloi. All Giloi takes place through the Shem Havaya. Preceding the Giloi of the Shem Havaya is the Shem Eheke. Aleph K, Yud K, Gematria 21, which is Anazam in the Meheve. It's Bina that is about to emerge into being, but it has not yet emerged, and it's the anticipatory stage towards the impregnation with expression prior to expression itself. So prior to the Shem Havaya is the Shem Eke, and underneath the Shem Havaya is the Shem Adnus, which represents Dina de Malchus Adina, which represents the expression of HaKadosh Baruch Hu's light down here in a measured way. So you have these three levels of ascending from highest in terms of the order of it. You would have Eke on top, which is prior to expression, Havaya in the middle, which is the process of expression, and Adnus, which is the receptivity of expression. And so you have these three names, and these three names, Eke, Havaya, and Adnus, Shehim Oilim Yabok. They're Gematria 112. Now this is the sod of Yichud, Bracha, and Kedusha. So there's a sod from the Mikubalim in the Zohar Kadosh that there's a secret of Yabok. Yabok is Yud Beis Kuf, which is Gematria 112, and it stands for the yichud of bracha and kedusha, unity, blessing, and holiness. These three stages represent the three-part breakdown of any experience and any expression of spiritual awareness. Everything has a beginning, a middle, and an end, a top, a middle, and a bottom. The partsufim are built on this secret, but we're not going to go too far into that. But there's always the muskal, the murgash, and the mutva. There's the intellectual process, the emotional process, and the embodied process. There's the yamin, small, and the emsa. There's the rosh, toch, and the sof. There's Avram, Yitzchak, and Yaakov, Shachris, Mincha, and Marav. There's always the three-part breakdown that expresses the unity of Haya, Hoiva, V'yiyah, the Yichud, Bracha, and Kedusha. And those are expressed by these three names, Havaya, Eheke, and Adnus. So first, let's look at the Gematria. The Gematria of the Shem Yabok, 112, represents the unity of these three things. It represents Eheke, which is Gematria 21. It represents Havaya, which is Gematria 26. And it represents Adnus, which is Gematria 65. Altogether equals 112. And those three numerical values represented in those names represent the unification and the tripartite breakdown of the unity that emerges through these three stages. Yichud, which is going to be the middle point of unity, the Shem Havaya. Bracha is the ability to draw something down, all the way down. Barecha, brecha, is to draw something down. And Kedusha is to elevate something up. And so we have the Yichud, which is going to be the Shem Havaya in the middle. The bracha is the drawing something down, which is going to be the Shem Adnus on the bottom. And the Kedusha, which is drawing something up, is going to be the Shem Havaya on top. So we see that the Shem Eheke on top. So these three names, the Yichud, Bracha, and Kedusha, Havaya, Eheke, and Adnus, Eheke on top, Havaya in the middle, and Adnus at the bottom, represents three modalities, three points of contact with spirituality and functioning in our day-to-day lives. There's the perspective of bracha, which seen from the human experience is what is most real. I'm drawing something down into my life. I'm trying to find the blessings of HaKadosh Baruch Hu in a world that appears to be devoid of the light of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, to uncover bracha, to remove the klala and to reveal the bracha within experience. Then there's kedusha. Then there's the transcendent desire to ascend upwards into a place of kadosh, 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 Hashem tzavakos, to remove myself, to set myself aside, not to engage in this world, to draw myself out of this world, as opposed to bracha, which is the hechsher of being in this world. And that represents two modalities of spiritual experience: a running out of this world from below to above, and a coming down into this world from above to below, in the secret of Ratzah V'Shov, bracha and kedusha. And there's the yichud between the two of them, which is going to be the impossible unity that is revealed, that both of them are fundamentally necessary. That's the yichud of bracha and kedusha. Bracha is adnus, kedusha is eke, and the yichud is going to be the havaya in the middle that connects them. And as we know from Rabbi Nachman in Torah Vav, in the Likutei Moharan, the Torah of Tshuva, it's all about being a baki biratz and a baki b'shov. Baki is gematria 112, and it's the same osios as yichud, bracha, and kedusha, because a person has to be a baki in running upwards towards HaKadosh Baruch Hu and descending down away from HaKadosh Baruch Hu. If I run up to you, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, I'm there. If I descend down into the pits of hell, you're there as well. That's the secret of bracha and kedusha and the yichud that emerges from between the two of them. And so we have this notion of yabok. That's the ikr tachlis. There should be a gilui of the unity between eheke, which is above, and adnus, which is below, through the secret of havaya, which is the middle, connecting to both of them. And then we have the full shleimus of the baki biratza, baki b'shoiv, and we have the yabuk. But when we find ourselves in a state of exile, like Rabbi Shimon has to hide in the cave, and we don't see the unification of the yichud, bracha, and the kedusha, and the eke, havaya, and adnus, as ne'elam inyan ha-yichud v'nishar ha-kedusha bracha levad. So what happens is the yichud, the connectivity, the impossible connection between these two paradoxical stages of functioning, between the bracha, which is the orientation of down here below, of malchus, and kedusha, which is the orientation of above there, and chachma, without any connectivity. So in a place of concealment, when Rabbi Shimon has to hide in the cave, and lo yodena adma, and we still are operating in that place of needing the bina to be mashpia down to malchus in case of emergency, so the yichud is missing. The yichud is missing, and what's left is bracha and kedusha levad. V'zenik racharuv beside kav charuvin. And this is referred to as a world that is destroyed, in the secret of the kav charuvin. So this kav charuvin, which we said is just the gilui of the oros, without the shorash, without the root being revealed to a person. So that's a state of exile. It's a state of constriction. It's a state of destruction. It's a state of kav charuvin. Kav is the rosh tevos of bracha and kedusha without the yichud, because in this place, what happens is that the split nature of experience, the Ratzah V'Shov, the Ailu bar, the going up and coming back down, the bracha of coming back down, and the kedusha of being back up, they seem to be separate because there's no yichud left. The Shem Havaya is concealed from that place. All you have is ehek and adnus. And in that place, there's a sense of destruction and distortion, and therefore, everything has to be taking place on the inside because the yichud seems to be missing. Now, there's another gematria of Yabuk. Another gematria of Yabuk is going to be Shem Havaya and Elokim, the connectivity between above and below. And so when the Shem Havaya is concealed and the yichud between these two paradoxical pulsations of Ratza and Shov, up and down, Bracha and Kedusha are missing the yichud because it's still Lo Yodenu Adma, and we're still only cultivating that hidden light of the Zohar HaKadosh, which is the light of escape within the impossibility of escape, the light of the Tevas Noach, the light of the Ir Miklad. So we find ourselves in a state of Kav Charuven, of just having Eheke and Adnus. And Eheke and Adnus, 65 plus 21 is going to be 86, which is the Shem Elokim, which is Din, which is Teva, which is that place of concealment. And Zak the Heilige Ramchal, L'chein hayitzrichim, ki behisgalus hayichud ein hasitra achra sheletes klal. When there's a yichud between above and below, and it's clear that the bipulsational experience of being a person in this world that is connected to the ground yet rising upwards, of fear and comfort, of bitachon and da'aga, of emuna and chachma, of all of the paradoxical units that operate together only through the secret of yichud, that invisible unity that is greater than the sum total of the parts, so its air breathes connectivity between those two parts, the light of Keser. As long as that yichud is there, so the Sitra Achra has no shlita because it's fundamentally clear that the Sitra Achra is just a revelation, kavyachol, of the light of HaKadosh Baruch Hu's unity. V'nimsa sheshem havaya ne'elam, but in a time of concealment, in a time of lo yodenu adma, oisasenu lo re'inu, where Rashbi has to run away into the cave, just like Moshe Rabbeinu, who had to run away, ki barach ha'am, even though we said already that once Moshe Rabbeinu has done it, it's as if they're actually real, even when we're just running away. It's a real thing because Moshe Rabbeinu did it for us, just like all the tzaddikim amitim. That once they do it, they pave the path for us, and therefore it becomes an actual real thing for us. B'nimsa sheshem havaya ne'elam, Shem Havaya is missing. All that exists is the bracha and the kedusha. And therefore, Rashbi Rabbi Elazar had to sit in the cave for 12 years in order to draw down the unification necessary to fix this broken problem, this concealed thing, which is the lack of connectivity between bracha and kedusha, between above and below, where a person can't be a baki and ratz and a baki b'shov. A person can't function with concealment and revelation at the same time. It's either one or the other in a mind that is devoid of the yichud and eating from that kav charuvin. Of why did it take 12 years? Because Rabbi Shimon and Rabbi Lazar had to spend a year on each of the 12 tzirufim, the 12 permutations of the Shem Havaya. We know if we look at any of the Sidurim by Rosh Chodesh and Musaf, that each and every month has a different permutation of the Shem Havaya, which can be split out in 12 different permutations. And each permutation has a particular form of expression through which HaKadosh Baruch Hu is Megala himself in that world, in that month. And Avad, it's the same light of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. HaKadosh Baruch Hu is Echad, B'li Shinui B'chlal. And the Shemos are all Drachim and Giluyim of our Hasag of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. But Avad HaKadosh Baruch Hu is Lamala Mikol HaShemos and Lamala Me, the Musag of Bal Hashem. And that all of the Shemos are rooted in the Shem Havaya, B'li Oisios, and that secret emergence of the Shem B'li Osios, which is the Metzias, She'ena B'Metzias, which is the impossibility of HaKadosh Baruch Hu's revelation in this world, by dint of the fact that it means concealment, and concealment is impossible, and therefore it's an invisible revelation of that which can't be grasped. That all of the Shemos are rooted in this invisible place, but they express themselves in 12 different ways. And each month and each Shevet has its own particular orientation, their own particular alignment to the balance between the masculine letters and the feminine letters, the modes of functioning, which person is more expressive, which person is more receptive. If you were born in this month, you have this tendency, etc., etc. All of the shinuyim, all of the endless changes correspond to the changes of these Yud Beit Sirufei Havaya, the fact that the Shem Havaya has different ways of being spelled. And each and every year was needed in order to refine one particular tziruf of the Shem Havaya, to draw it back down and to connect it to the bracha and the kedusha, which abided without that unity. Kina hayutzrichim lechaber shem havaya baruch hu beyud beis tzirufim leekev adnas b'tzirufayim. We have to be mashlim the yabok. We have to be mashlim the bracha and the kedusha with the yichud. We have to be mashlim above and below with the inner middle point that connects above and below at once. In the secret of aniva ayin b'vasachas. Vayutzarich lekoil tziruf metzirufei havaya baruch hu shana achas. And they needed 1 year for each and every one of those tzirufim of the shem havaya, which were the 12 years that they spent in the cave. V'nimtza shebeyud beis shanim nishlam klarar tikun. With 12 years, they completed the tikkun. They refined the Shem Havaya to the degree necessary where each and every of the 12 permutations of all of the Shiftei Ka, which find themselves in the light of the Zohar HaKadosh, and will find redemption from this book, B'hai Safri Afkin Megalusa, through Pnimius HaTorah. Each and every one of the Shvatim has their own path through the sea, and therefore each and every one of the Shvatim had to have that name corresponding to them and their orientation cultivated and illuminated by Rabbi Shimon and Rabbi Lazar in the cave. And so they refine that Shem Havaya to the degree that it can now be connected to Bracha and Kedusha to create the Yichud of Yabok again. When the tikkun was done after 12 years, that it's the name of Havaya that is now refined and ready to be drawn down to reveal the inherent connection between all things, and it was time for them to leave. But they left, and it wasn't time yet for the complete rectification because there was still another 12 months of rectification that needed to take place. But there's no other permutation of the Shem Havaya except the Shem Havaya Bli Oisios, which corresponds to the Me'ayin Yavo Ezri of other bays. So what do they have to go back in for? What do they have to go back in another year for? And why is this year being referred to as 12 months as if it contains within itself the potency of all of the previous 12 years, each year to a month? The purpose was gimel hashemois shebein kulam ya'asu yud beis. Meim yud beis oisi shel havaya ekev adnas. Once Rabbi Shimon and Rabbi Lazar did the preparatory work of the 12 years and refining the Shem Havaya down to the point where each and every yid has the capacity of finding their own nakuda of his kashrus to the Rabbeinu Shalom, to the Shem Havaya through the Sefer Zohar Kadosh, and how it's matim to each and every neshama. That's only because Rabbi Shimon is the Shar HaKoilel, and he opened up that place that Mishamamin Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai Yesh Lechizik Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, that there is a perush that each and every person brings in accordance with their own stamp of their soul to the Zohar HaKadosh. And no person is alike, even if they're come from the same Shevet, even if they have the same tzira for the Shem Havaya. But Rabbi Shimon and Rabbi Lazar called the light of each and every one of the tzirufei Havaya to come down into the yichud that comes from the Zohar HaKadosh, so that each and every person, no matter what their permutation, no matter what the orientation of the letters, no matter what month a person finds themselves in, so Rabbi Shimon prepared that, but it was necessary to then take all of those Shemos Havaya and actually do the work of sewing together the unity with the Bracha and the Kedusha. There's the preparation of the lights, and then there's the drawing down of the lights. There's always a two-stage process of Malchus and Yesod, that any person who enters in 2 openings into the base Medrash, the Gemara in Brachos says, is Muftach Shu Ben Olam Haba. What are those 2 openings? It's Malchus and Yesod. It's Kedusha and Emunah. Those 2 psachim. Those 2 openings that a person has to go into. There's the Sur Meira and there's the Aseh Tov. There's the preparation of all of the Shemos Havaya, and then there's the 12 months necessary for the sewing back together, where that all of those different permutations of the Shem Havaya get channeled into the singularity of the Shem Havaya, because we're not dealing with a different name. The Shem Havaya is everything. It's singular in all modes of singularity, but each and every person has the capacity to understand what Shavisi Hashem, the Negdi Tamid, is, what it's saying to me in this moment, what the color orientation is, what the Nekudos are. Shavisi Hashem Lenegdi Tamid, and then it just becomes the 4 osios of Havaya, which now connect to the 4 osios of Eke and to the 4 osios of Adnus, which is going to be 12 letters in total to be mashlim everything, to be mashlim the yichud of Yabok, the connectivity between above and below, Eke above, prior to revelation, Havaya, the act of revelation itself, and Adnus, the receptivity of revelation, above, below, and center, connecting above and below at once, revealing the bi-directionality of spiritual attachment to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, the Baki Baratza, Baki B'Shov, the need for both Mashiach ben Yosef and Mashiach ben David, and that's going to be the full Gilui, and at that point they're going to be able to leave the cave. V'yesh hefresh gadol ben tikkun l'tikkun. Zaktar Ramchal, there's obviously a profoundly large difference between the stages of rectification that took place in the first 12 years, where each and every one of the Tzirufei Shem Havaya needed a year to itself to be Muslim, and the last 12 months, which was just the connection of all of those sirufim into the singular expression of Shem Havaya, so that can be connected to Ehek and Adnus to create the Yichud of Yabok. Why? Ki ha'alif, says the Ramchal, the first tikkun, which was the 12 years, hu hamshachas Shem Havaya baruch hu elakav hanimsa kvar. That what we're doing in those 12 years of rectification is actually culling lights and creating lights that were not yet present. They were concealed. There was a period. The yichud was not present. The bracha and kedusha seemed to be apparent in their abiding on their own, and there was a stira between the two of them. There was no connection between above and below. And therefore, there needed to be a recultivation of the Shem Havaya. Not that it was absent, God forbid, because it's always there. It's just not revealed. But Rashbi had to re-encounter that light of the Shem Havaya, which until Rashbi hadn't been revealed in the way that it was revealed after Rashbi, until the coming of the Arizal, the Chule V'chule, as it goes with the Tzaddikim Amitim. But what Rashbi and Baryov did, what Rashbi and Rabbi Lazar did, was that they drew down the light in a new way that it can now be refracted to the connectivity of the stira at the heart of creation itself, of Kedusha and Bracha, of above and below, and Rashbi drew it down. And so that's why it took so much work. Rashbi was paving the path. The reason it feels so easy to do spiritual work in our worlds and why a person can taste the world in their days is because the tzaddikim did the work for us already. Rabbi Nachman Schusa Ganalinu asked, do you know why it's so hard for me to do anything in this world spiritually? Because I'm paving miles and miles and miles of forest for those of you who are going to walk behind me. And that's true with all of the tzaddikim amitim and the yechidei hadoros. And then afterwards, v'habeiz, the secondary work after the heavy lifting is done, hu hischabris hahavaya baruch hu animshach im hakav. Now it's connecting the Shem Havaya to the bracha and the kedusha, which is going to be the shleimus of Yabok, which is eheke Havaya and adnos, or Havaya eheke and adnos. Liyos b'hashva achas, to connect them, to then draw it down and to apply it properly, but not to create it. That took 12 years, but to draw it down and to align it properly, to sew it together, that takes 12 months, which is why it sometimes feels that at the end of history, it's the shaila of how could it possibly be that our generation could bring Mashiach if the generations prior to us couldn't bring Mashiach. So Rav Chaim Vital and Rav Tzadok and all of the tzaddikim explain that to do anything in our generation demands so much more strength than it took to do anything in previous generations. And that's a particular strength of our generation. But nevertheless, no matter how strong our generation is, there's no denial of the Yerida Sadoros in the sense that the tzaddikim were the tzaddikim and we are we. And we are who we are. Yes, we have tzaddikim. There's Moshe Rabbeinu in our generation. There's the tzaddikim amitim in our generation. In every generation, talmidim amitim of the Yechidei Hadoros. Nevertheless, our generation is by definition distant from the origination of the higher tzaddikim. Chazal is mali v'gadosh, this notion. So how could it be that there's a possibility of doing something in this generation that couldn't be done in the previous generation? So we see the Ramchal is saying that it takes an immense amount of work to cultivate the lights. And it takes far less work to actually draw down those lights and connect those lights that are already cultivated. That only takes 12 months. That's the secret of Yichud, Bracha, and Kedusha. For the first part, we needed years for each and every tziruf of the Shem Havaya. Because each and everything demanded specificity and particularity. And nothing had been refined to that degree. And all beginnings are difficult because we're paving new paths, and that's why it took a year for each name. But afterwards, in the second stage of the tikkun, after it's already been collected and developed, so it's enough for it to take months. Because it's more of a general principle. Because the tikkun has already taken place in the beginning, and now it's much easier to complete it rather than to have to start afresh from the beginning. And this tikkun also goes in a different place. This tikkun of the Zohar HaKadosh, this tikkun of the Shemos Havaya to connect to the Bracha and the Kedusha, and the drawing down of the Yud Beis Sirufei Havaya to be Mashlim, the Yichud of Havaya Eke and Adnos, to connect above and below through the middle that unifies the two of them. This also goes a profound way. It's not only in case of emergency break glass, but it also goes a profound way in being Mezachech Metzias to draw down that Or of Ma again, like we said, which is the Chut of the Or Ein Sof, which is Meskala itself in the Shem Havaya Dema, as we're going to see, which is the secret of the Torah. That this tikkun of the Zohar HaKadosh, this tikkun of the cultivations of the Yud Beis Sirufei Havaya to be mashlim, the Yichud of Yabok, of Yichud Bracha and Kedusha, so that a person can be above and below at once in the secret of Baki Baratza, Baki B'Shov, falling and standing over and over. So Zok the Heilig Ramchal, tikkun, this tikkun also went elsewhere and it did something else at the same time. And this is the element of drawing down the Or Ein Sof, that kav, into the neshama of Moshe Rabbeinu, into Yerushalayim, into the Kodesh HaKadoshim, which is also the secret of the Shem Havaya. Like the Ramchal hinted to before, the tachlis of the kav is to be miskala within the mechsav haneshamos, which is malbish on the mechsav hatziros, and the nishmas eloikai mima'al, the nukuda hapnimius of the chidush benefesh is mukusher behechlet to the kav or ein sof. That's the secret of the chut through the hiskashers to the tzaddikim amitim. And the tachlis is to draw that light down, which is concealed now, down into Nishmas Yisrael, to reveal that which has always been there, the true shorish of Nishmas Yisrael. The Kfar Shematu Sheman. We also already told you that this is the Shem Havaya of Ma, the Yud Vav Dalid Hey Aleph Vav Aleph Vav Hey Aleph, which paradoxically, how can it mean the infinite and also mean Zer Anpin, which is limited? But Hainuhach Zahu Atik Vatiku Uza. The Torah is reflective of the infinite light, and it's a trace of the infinite light, and therefore it's infinite within the vessels itself. So we have these two pirushim of the Chut of Orion Sof, which is Mislabish within Nishmas Yisrael, within the Nukud of Moshe Rabbeinu, and it's also the secret of the Shem Havaya Dema. Now, there are four letters. The Ramchal is teaching us such a fundamental klal here. There are four essential letters when it comes to the nature of this Shem Havaya Dema, the 10 letters of Yud, Vav, Dalet, Hey, Aleph, Vav, Hey, Aleph. And the secret of those letters are the secret of Ahava, of love, of connectivity, or the secret of Shema Yisrael taking place in the chelik of Ahava. And Ahava techaseh al kol hapshayim. And that Ahava is the name of HaKadosh Baruch Hu Kaviyachol. And how is the Shem Havaya Dema, how is the Iker name of HaKadosh Baruch Hu the secret of Ahava, the secret of the Tzimtzum, which is Ahava dechekes es abasar, that Ahava dechekes es ashura, as the Heilige Kazhin Samagid points out so much. That the secret of Ahava is that when you spell out the Milui of the Shem Havaya, you have Yud Vav Dalid, and then you have Hey Aleph, and then Vav Aleph Vav, and then Hey Aleph. So you take the Vav Dalid of the shleimus of the first letter, which is 10, and then you have the aleph in the hey, vav, and the hey. So you take the aleph from each of those letters, and so you have a yud, aleph, 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 and yud, aleph, 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 which is the essential element of the Shem Havaya, which is the miloy of those shemos, forgetting about the vav and the two vavs, only taking the aleph there. So what we have is yud, aleph, 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 which is gematria ava, which is 13, the miloy of Shem Ma. So we see that the essential quality of the Shema that is being brought back down is the secret of Ahava, and this secret of Ahava is being cultivated in the cave as well. In the first 12 years that Rashbi was in the cave, so for all of those 12 years, what the tzaddikim were doing were they were connecting to those three alephs of that Shem Havaya, which is the secret of Ahava. They were refining those lower levels of separation, refining the aleph, finding the aleph over and over, being mezachich, polishing the aleph, finding alufa shel olam there in each and every moment, and all of the levels of concealment. And they spent 12 years doing that. 12 years doing that for all of the sirufei havaya. That if there's going to be yud beis sirufei havaya, there's also going to be yud beis ekes, and there's also going to be yud beis adnusim. And therefore, in those 12 years, they refined the alephs of eke and the alephs of adnus, which would correspond to the 12 partsufim of Shem Havaya. And that's the secret of the Yud Beis Shvatim Kanoida. Like we said, this connectivity speaks to every soul in their own most fashion. Ach b'shana hayud gimel, but in the 13th year, b'Yud Beis Chadashim nimshacha hayud. They drew down the Yud of that Ahava and the Yud Aleph Aleph Aleph. So the first 12 years there was Aleph Aleph Aleph, over and over. And then in the 12 months, it was the Shem Havaya, the Yud, to connect it to the Yud, Aleph, 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 which is the secret of Ahava, the connectivity between above and below, the secret of the Ma'avor Yabok, the secret of Yud, Beis, Kuf, the Yichud of Bracha and Kedusha, of the Bracha that's being drawn down, the Kedusha that's being drawn up, and the Yichud between the two of them. Lamala Lamata B'vasachas, La'yedei HaGidlei HaEmtsai HaPnimi. And then this Yud is drawn down and attaches itself to those 12 Alfin. Besides Gimel Yudin, besides Tlos Kutzin, which is the secret of the three elements of the Yud, which are the three drops that compose the Yud itself, which is the sod of Havaya, 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 to connect itself to Eke, 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 and Adnas, 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 which is going to be the 12 letters, which is going to be the Yichud of Yabok. Ubiyosim beside a Yichud, and because they're functioning now in the light of unity, where the Bracha and the Kedusha above and below are shown to be unified, Alkein Nechlalim Yud achas. All they need is one yud, because that yichud of avaya is megal the connectivity of all of the different changes. And also in this place of the tikkun, it only needed 1 year, which is 12 months, rather than all of the heavy lifting that needed to be done. Now, Avad, the light of the tzaddikim, Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai and Rabbi Lazar Bray, and Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai says, "Kadai lismoch," that if it were just me and my son alone, we would be able to have the world be nimtak min adin, because they were giving that kav charuvin, like Rav Chanina ben Dosa, B'shvil Chanina ben Dosa, and that secret of the shvil of the tzaddik. That was enough. They were sustaining the world. There was no yichud in the world. There was no fundamental yichud. Rashbi and Rabbi Lazar were being megadol the light of yichud within the cave. But there was still period, as we saw with the exit of Rabbi Shimon and Rabbi Lazar, where it was a world of destruction, where they saw destruction and they couldn't be miyached above and below, because that yud wasn't niskali yet. That because until that time, the outside of the world, ma was not niskali yet, ahava between above and below was not niskali yet, and Rabbi Shimon and Rabbi Lazar couldn't understand the secret of the connectivity between bracha and kedusha through the secret of the yichud. So those 12 months had to go back in to ensure that this light of the unity applied to others as well, because that's the ikar tachlis of the tzaddikim, that others should benefit from their light. They're not doing the avodah for themselves. They're not here for themselves. The tzaddikim are here for Klal Yisrael. Moshe Rabbeinu was there for Klal Yisrael. Klal Yisrael is Moshe. And therefore they had to go back in to cultivate the light of the yichud itself. And prior to them entering in to refine that connectivity above and below, to reveal it for everybody, not only themselves. There was no gilui in the world where the light of Rabbi Shimon, the light of Tikkun, could be mislabish in the period between bracha and kedusha. And they were punishing individuals because they saw only separation in the light of the unity that they were living with. Until they were forced to go back in order to be mashlim, that second stage of the Yud Beis, in order to draw down the inherent connection for others as well, so that above and below could be revealed to be an inherent unity. And that's the secret of Yabok, and that's the secret of transforming this world into a garden. And that Jew who was carrying the plants, and when Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai came out of the cave and he realized that it's the secret of Shamar V'Zachor, the secret of Shabbos, which is the yichud of bracha and kedusha. And now va'az nisyav shvuyoter ad she'afal pish Rabbi Elazar hayasharashim nagvuros, that even though Rabbi Elazar, who was more fierce and more powerful in gvura and a stubbornness of seeing separation in the world than his father Rabbi Shimon, even though he was punishing the world, even though he was burning up the world, but the light of Rabbi Shimon was calm enough at this place to draw down the yichud for everybody to see. And afterwards, everything was mushlam together. And it was specifically Eliyahu Navi who came to the cave after those 12 months to announce to them that the yichud of Yabok was niskala, and that the bracha and the kedusha were revealed for all to see, and that the gezerah was over, and Rashbi was able to come out. That the Shema was niskala. V'im kol zeh loy bava amar lahem. Eliyahu Navi didn't come into the cave to whisper to them. Ela kla'achar yad hagiya lahem hashmua. But rather they heard it at the entrance of the cave, as the Gemara in Lamed Gimel and Shabbos, which is the secret of Lag BaOmer, reveals. So why is it like that? Va'emes, says Rabbeinu Ramchal, kikasher tikun azor hu shenatakin sham. Eliyahu Navi didn't come be'ikr in order to announce to them that it was time to come out of the cave. Eliyahu Navi came because they were Megal the light of the Zohar. Al kain ba Eliyahu. Eliyahu Navi came for the Zohar itself. Kihu be'emes ha'ikari be'giloi anashamas asher nigla b'chibur Sefer Zohar. Because Eliyahu Navi is the ikar giloi of the Sefer Zohar. As we know that Rabbeinu Arizal learned from Eliyahu Navi the secrets of the Zohar on the banks of the Nile River. Eliyahu Navi, that's niskala in the mind of each and every person, ba'irich haseichel, is the mafteach necessary for opening oneself up into the secret of the Zohar Kadosh, which is the secret of Malchus, which is the secret of the Hamtaka, of the Klavim, Tzoakim. Kelev is Gematria Eliyahu, Kelev is Gematria Ben, and it's specifically in the world of the Nekeva, in the world of Malchus, in the broken place of the Tzafon, Tiftach L'Ra'a, that a person has to be Magal, the light of the Zohar Kadosh. In truth, the entirety of the Zohar is through Eliyahu Navi. As we see in the Tikkunim themselves. But because the Tikkun has not been fully revealed yet, Eliyahu Navi had to come and only whisper to them from afar, because that light is still not fundamentally revealed. And then comes along with Pinchas ben Yair, the brother-in-law, the son-in-law of Rashbi, and he's combing Rashbi's skin and seeing all the pain, and he's saying, Oili sharaisi bikach, Oili sharaisi bikach, woe to me that I've seen you as such. And Rabbi Shimon is saying, Oilecha sharaisi bikach, woe to you that you have seen me as such. Ashrecha sharaisi bikach, praiseworthy are you for you have seen me as such. Ki em le'raisi bikach, lo'isi bikach. For you have not seen me in this way, then you would have not have found within me what I have found. But what is it that Rabbi Pinchas ben Yair saw? What is it that gave Rabbi Pinchas ben Yair the ability to uncover the path through Ruach HaKodesh? What did he see in that place by Rabbi Shimon? Who gam kin tikkun inyan yichud. Rav Pinchas ben Yair was also preparing the yichud at that point, of combing away the difficulty of Rabbi Shimon. Ach lo yochel l'taken ela haklal. But Rav Pinchas ben Yair was only able to rectify the general concept, but not the fundamental particulars. Dainu havaya eheke adnas biachad. Rav Pinchas ben Yair's ability was to refine the 12 letters of Yabok, of havaya eheke and adnas together as one. V'chol prat v'lo haprat l'kasher kol tzirav zeh. but not how to reveal fundamentally how each and every one is operating in accordance to this principle of yichud. But in truth, the fact that Rav Pinchas ben Yair wasn't working on the particular rectifications of his Giloy in the Zohar Kadosh, it means that the particulars had already taken place, and now all Rav Pinchas ben Yair had to do was be mashal the general concept. But before that, it wasn't whole. And therefore, we see that there was a difference between Rav Pinchas ben Yair before Rabbi Shimon went into the Ma'ara, that he would ask 12 questions and Rabbi Shimon would be able to answer him in 12 ways. Because now Rabbi Shimon went in and he rectified the second 12, and now he answered him 24 questions afterwards. And so this Nakuda, Be'ezras Hashem, will end with this Nakuda. We see that Rabbi Pinchas ben Yair, when Rabbi Shimon comes out of the cave, he sees Rabbi Shimon suffering, and Rabbi Pinchas ben Yair is cleaning him and saying, woe to you, woe to you, woe to you. And Rabbi Shimon is teaching him something. He's saying, no, no, no. You rectified half of the problem. You rectified the Yud-based Sirufim of Havaya. Rav Pinchas ben Yair, you're from the Chayrish of Avram Avinu. You're the light of Chesed. You know how to find the light of HaKadosh Baruch Hu in a place of Chesed. You know how to find HaKadosh Baruch Hu in a place of Gilui, in the Brisi Shalom, in the secret of Pinchas ben Yair, the light of Pinchas that is illuminated in the light of Yair, which is that understanding of Brisi Shalom in the secret of the Kohen Gadol. In that place of Avram, Koyin, the Kel Elyon, in that place of the Chesed and the Rachamim Rabim, Rav Pinchas ben Yair was able to find 12 Tzirufei Havaya, how to be mamtik the din with Rachamim, how to find Hashem's light in the Shem Havaya. But when Rabbi Shimon comes out of the cave, Rav Pinchas ben Yair only learned the first half of the tikkun. He only learned how to rectify things by way of revelation in the Shem Havaya. What Rabbi Shimon learned is that I can also be rectifying the light of HaKadosh Baruch Hu in places of concealment as well, because the Shem Havaya has 12 tzirufim. But the Shem Adnus, which represents din, has 24 tzirufim. And what Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai says is that before I entered into the cave, you and I could both, you could ask me 12 questions and I can answer you 12 questions because I could be mamtik the problem with Rachamim. But now that I've come out of the cave, you still could only ask me 12 questions because you only understand Rachamim because you're from the Shorish of Avram Avinu, which is light of Chesed. But I've also understood the secret of Gvuros and the secret of Yitzchak, which is that now I can answer you up with 24 questions. With the Shem Havaya, I can find the HaKadosh Baruch Hu in a place of Rachamim Rabim within din itself. And that's the rectification that comes out of the Zohar Kadosh, the ability to refine the Giloy of HaKadosh Baruch Hu's presence in this world, not only through the Giloy of HaKadosh Baruch Hu when it's revealed to us, but also in concealment, in the Yichud between the Bracha and the Kedusha. So let's go just a little bit weiter, Be'ezras Hashem. V'nimtza, it turns out, Shabrechas Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai Asa Inyan HaTeva, that Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai running away into the cave was the very same thing as creating the Teva, which is the preparation of the light, which is sown for the tzaddikim to reveal the rectifications necessary in spite of the fact that the circumstances externally are not yet there. And in that hidden place, the Zohar emerges. And within the book of the Zohar, all of the 600,000 souls of Klal Yisrael are contained. Why? Because Rabbi Shimon refined each and every prat, each and every tziruf, each and every Shem Havaya that is correspondent to each and every Nishmas Yisrael has its place in the Zohar Kadosh. It just needs to be discovered. Tachazi, come and see. The shirish of what a person's life is in the Zohar Kadosh already. Rabbi Shimon and Rabbi Lazar refined all of the particular permutations of the names in accordance with each and every shevet, in accordance with each and every nisham, in accordance with each and every particular circumstance in life. Each and every person has a place in the Teva. Each and every person has a place in the Ir Miklat. Each and every person has a chelik in the Zohar Kadosh, because every single element of the souls are contained within the Zohar Kadosh. And now, because the Zohar comes from the light of Moshe Rabbeinu, which was Shivisa Shevi, and Moshe ran away, and it was like the entirety of Klal Yisrael ran away, so too Rabbi Shimon prepared more of a vessel for that light. It wasn't just a running away, it was the cultivation of a document that we hold in our hands, which also is going to be considered a full running away of Klal Yisrael. That through the light of the Zohar HaKadosh, in the end, we will not need to run away, we will just need to walk out safely and calmly. that in the future we will not have to run out, we will not have to be bewildered, but rather HaKadosh Baruch Hu is going to walk before us. The Hashem is the revelation of Zah, which is Zer Anpin, HaMa'asfim Elikei Yisrael Shehu Nuk, which is the Malchus. Like we said, the Ikr Shem Havaya is the Shem of Ma, which is Yud Vav Dalet Hey Aleph Vav Aleph Vav Hey Aleph, because that's the Ikr Chiddush of Emunas Yisrael and the Razadam Yemnusa, specifically how Hashem reveals His infinite light within the Torah and the mitzvahs themselves. It's not a Chiddush to think that a person can run directly to the infinite. Every person, every child can think that they can run directly to the infinite. The secret is finding the infinite within the limitation itself, and the secret of the Razadam Yemnusa and the secret of the Shem Havaya, that's the Skala and Zah, which is the secret of Bechira and the Torah and the mitzvahs and Bechiras Yisrael and Nishmas Yisrael. And that unifies with what? It unifies with Elikei Yisrael, which is the secret of Malchus. Kiloi beside Ha'ir Miklat. It's not going to be in the secret of an Ir Miklat. It's not going to be the secret of running away and finding a place of calmness prior to actually being calm. Ella Lefi Seder Hamadregos Karoi. Everything will go in the way that it's meant to go, and we will be calm in our spiritual situatedness. We will not feel like we are about to lose the spiritual light that we're trying so desperately to hold on to, like a thin thread that's about to disappear from our hands, which forces us to grab hold of it with more ferocity each and every second. We will trust it. We will find comfort in it. We won't question it. We will be aware of the fact that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is there, and it will come down in the orderly way, in that secret of the Aleph, which is above the Tzawar Ta'asel Teva, through the secret of the Torah. Because the Zohar HaKadosh doesn't disappear. In fact, the Zohar HaKadosh, the Zohar HaKadosh continues, and it persists, and it leaves its blessing afterwards. Shekol mi sheyisdavek boy nikra shebayrich misitra acher. That anybody finds themselves connecting to the Zohar HaKadosh, it is as if they have escaped from the Sitra Achra, ad shelo yitztarich lo eli yitzira, to the degree that all a person needs at that point is to walk slowly out of exile. V'oidicha matay eles nimsa bezeh. And I will explain to you, says Rabbeinu Ramchal, what value there is in this. V'ha'emes kitay eles gadolhu. And the truth of the matter is that it is a profoundly, profoundly tremendous benefit. Ki hu hatzala mechevle Mashiach. Because the Zohar HaKadosh, this place of safety, is a way of escaping the difficulties and the birth pains prior to the emergence of Mashiach. V'ha'inyan. And the matter is as follows: Ki chevle Mashiach lo hayutzrichim. There is no necessity for the pain of the birth pangs of exile emerging into redemption. Ela kamay chibut hakever hatzarich lahafrid min ha'adam hazu hamash nestavik bo. Other than the necessity of what the body goes through after it's died, which is the processing and the sifting from concealment and revelation, from purity and impurity. Those who are alive in this generation, those of us who are zoiche to be in this generation, our generation, are experiencing chevle Mashiach, which is like the chibut hakever, as Rabbeinu Hagra points out at the end of Safra Ditzniusa. Kain hayutzrichim hachavalim kedei lahafrid me Yisrael zuhuma hagalus. So too, in the end, towards the death of exile, Klal Yisrael are going to have to go through that shaking and that shifting up to get rid of all of the impurities and the pollution of exile, kedei sheyuchlu livroyach keniskaleal, so that we are light enough to run away. And then we'll come afterwards to exit. That was then. HaKadosh Baruch Hu ma'amid aleim melech shegzeroisav kashes kahaman umachzirim lemutav. And that brecha out of Galus, that brecha and the need for the Chevle Mashiach, and the need for more of the suffering rather than Rachamim Rabim, that's only when we're going to find ourselves in a place of brecha, where we need a Melech Kasha Kahaman to awaken us out of our stupor. Because as long as a person finds himself stuck in Sitra Achra, they cannot perform the rectifications they need to reflect, and one must exit Sitra Achra. And if it need be done, it will come about by a Melech Kasha Kahaman, and that's the Chevle Mashiach. But in the end of the day, it's not enough to escape the Sitra Achra. We have to ensure that the Sitra Achra remain underneath our power. And like a fly that gets caught in a fly trap, that it rests there thinking it has freedom until it tries to run away and it realizes, oh my goodness, I've been stuck and played all along, and that Klal Yisrael can now pounce on me and destroy me. It's not enough to get rid of the Sitra Achra. We have to transform the Sitra Achra and reveal that it too is the resting place of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. There's two gestures that are necessary in the exit from exile. To run out of the klipa by way of running away, melech kasha kahaman, because it seems too difficult to walk away calmly. But again, the Ramchal said that with the Zohar Kodesh we can walk away calmly. And once we've escaped, we ran out actually with an uplifted hand, shaklipos tesharenu kafusos tachtam, that not only did we run away from the klipa, but we have the ability of transforming the klipa itself and revealing how concealment is light as well. Ach kivan shaharbe nistavka behem, but because the concealment and the pollution is so thick and so great, lo haya efshar lehem leroyach al yadei hachavalim. The only way for them to escape at that place was through the chevle Mashiach, through the shifting and the shaking. Sha'az hayu chayzrim tshuva shu'ima. At that point, Bina and the Gevuros are awakened, and a person runs into that place. Ir miklat v'zosia brecha. But that was only then. That was only then. But Rabbeinu Ramchal is revealing something that's different now. Something that's different now as a result of the Zohar HaKadosh. As the pasuk says, "B'tzar lacha v'himtzacha kol hadvarim ha'ela v'shavtas Hashem Elokecha." That when you find yourself in these places of concealment, as pasuk in Devarim says, when you find yourself in places of concealment and you return to HaKadosh Baruch Hu from that place, da ki hiskabrus hasitra achra ligzor chas v'shalom gezerus al Yisrael. Understand that concealment operates in such a way that it seems to be able to bring about negative decrees upon Klal Yisrael, God forbid. Nimshach lefi aliyosei le'asches liyanik b'madregos. This operates in accordance to the brazenness of the Sitra Achra to seemingly reach upwards to draw down from places of holiness. Ki kefi aloisa kach miskaberet. Because as much power as we give to the Sitra Achra, as much as we feel the Sitra Achra has the capacity of meeting us head on and mimicking Kedusha, so too is the strength of the Sitra Achra going to be. And as a result of our inability to believe in our Kedusha and Nishmas Yisrael and Elkei Yisrael, the secret of Zun, and believe in our true Koach, so we find that the Sitra Achra has the ability to be Miskaber and be Machlish Ardas. And because we don't judge ourselves favorably, and we don't believe in the koyach of Nishmas Yisrael, which is the secret of Zun, to be mitgaber over the Yetzer Hara, and we give power to the Sitra Achra, which it doesn't actually have, so then we remain stuck underneath it. Adshu magas le'ima, till it comes to a place where it appears to even operate in the place of ima, of tshuva. It seems to take away all hope. And it seems, okay, I'm going to take over that place of ima. I'm going to create a place where they're hopeless about hope. Beside ima din and mesarim minei, because ima is also the source of dinim. But in truth, the Sitra Achra is thinking that it can come and take the place of Ima, take that place of Bina away from us, take that place of the, in case of emergency, break glass, light of the Zohar HaKadosh away from us, then it's mistaken. Ki Ima hi Chayrus, because in Ima and Bina it's Chayrus, it's freedom from Dinim. Va'az Adiraba, it's the opposite there. Yisrael mistavkin ba be'ema uberchem b'sed tshuva. When we connect to Ima, when we connect to this place of the Zohar HaKadosh, of the Tevas Noach, of that calmness of being okay no matter what, we run away and we run into the place of tshuva. U'lechen hayitzarech hamelech shegzeiros of kashos. And in that place, we needed that melech who had those negative judgments to awaken us. We needed there to be the seemingly growth of concealment so that it appears that concealment can come up to Bina, and then when concealment ceases to try and come up to Bina, then Bina suddenly captures it. And then the concealment causes Klal Yisrael to return in tshuva. And this is the secret of right before its destruction, it strengthens itself. That the strengthening of the Sitra Achra, the apparent concealment itself, seemingly having a place in calmness of the mind, where it takes away our Yishav Adas of Ima, where it takes away my ability to find comfort in the Zohar HaKadosh. It's specifically there where the time is ripe to pounce on the Sitra Achra, and where it's ultimately going to lose its koach. And it seems to be strengthening on itself, but that's only because it's in its death throes. And so too, this always had to happen. By Moshe and Rashbi, they also had to run away. They also needed this element. But because the Zohar HaKadosh was congealed and it came down into the world through these acts of running away, the secret of tshuva of the tzaddikim amitim, hinekvar inyan hateva kayim v'oimed l'chol mi sheyizdamene love. At this point, the work is already done, and the teva and the Zohar and the Ir Miklat is available for all to come and take from it. Hainu nizdavek b'sefer hazohar kvar magia le'ima v'yotza min hasitra achra. Someone who is learning the Zohar HaKadosh, someone who studies the words of the Zohar l'shma, is a person who is escaping from the Sitra Achra, and a person doesn't need Chevle Mashiach. They can find comfort within the Zohar HaKadosh. Kemuzka Baraya Mehemna Parshas Naso, as it's explicitly stated in Parshas Naso, B'inyan Shehevesi Lamala B'tchila, that the Zohar HaKadosh is the redemption itself. But the development of the Zohar HaKadosh was not synonymous with the revelation of the Zohar HaKadosh. We know that there were centuries in between the revelation, until finally in the generation of Hod, in the 5th generation of Kol Hayom Hafach L'Davai, of that secret of Churban Habayis, that The Zohar Kadosh is actually revealed in order to perform its performances. The light of the Zohar Kadosh is necessary only in its allotted time. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu is Choshev, the Kates, B'chol Rega V'Rega, and every moment has its own revelation. She'avrichu Yisrael b'sayid HaZohar Hazeh. That our generation runs away through the Zohar Kadosh. Eino ele b'soif yoma. It's only at the end. B'dara de Malka Mashiach, in the times of Melech HaMashiach, as the Hilger of Pinchas Karitzer and the Rebbe of Baruch would say, they would thank HaKadosh Baruch Hu every day for being born in the generation after the Zohar Kadosh was revealed. And the Hilger of Pinchas said, I would not be able to survive. I would not have a chelek of Yahadus to me if it wasn't for the Heilige Zohar Kadosh. As the tzaddikim always understood, the Zohar Kadosh is the light that's sown for the tzaddikim, and that when a person learns the Zohar Kadosh, they have the ability of finding Gan Eden in that moment itself. And Be'ezrus Hashem, through this brecha, and we'll continue seeing that Rabbeinu Ramchal is not done talking about the light of the Zohar and the coming of Mashiach, but for now we'll finish up, and we'll be Zoicha Be'ezrus Hashem to the Hamshach of the Geula Shlema through the iris of Bina itself, down to Malchus, to awaken within us the ability to connect the Zer Anpin to the Shem Havaya Dama, which is the secret of Ava, which is the secret of Yud Aleph Aleph Aleph, to be Matakin, the Eicha Yashva Badar, the opposite of Badar is Ava, the Achdus, the Yichud, and the Yichud within Bedidus, which is the secret of Hispaididus, which is the secret of creating a Yichud within Pirud and Bedidus itself. And we should be Zoichet to sit with ourselves and to be present and to find the unity within in order to come out afterwards and see a world refined by Ezra Hashem.